and welcome to another episode of the Gold Country Media Sports Jam. I'm Jordan.
I'm Aaron.
I'm at.
All right, so since we just had the Super Bowl, I guess our question of the day is going to be putting you all on the spot. A way too early Super Bowl pick. Who wins it all next year?
I'm going to be so biased on this. A lot depends, obviously, on the offseason, but I would love to see Bengals Niners. That's what I was hoping to see this year. I think both teams will definitely be back and will have a good shot at it. I mean, the Chiefs will be back as well. I'm going to go Bengals Niners. Do I really want to go super biased? I'm going to go Niners beat the Bengals. I'm a hopeful person.
All right, by the way, these are all being archived, and we will make fun of you for it if you're wrong.
That's all fine. Yeah.
Not what I do.
I'll go Eagles over Bills.
All right. I like it. I'm gonna say Bengals. I'm gonna go a little outside the box. I think if they're healthy, their defense is scary. I'm gonna say Bengals, Cowboys, and the Bengals win it next year. So
Old.
but hey, back to the high school sports. That's one people really care about out here while you're tuning into the show. We've had a big week. It felt like we had league races where everything was coming down to the wire. I mean, the playoffs start this week, but in a few sports and a few leagues, it really felt like the playoffs were last week, is with how some of these teams were fighting. I know we had a big one. It really, FVL was crazy in football and basketball, boys and girls, or I mean soccer and basketball, I guess football and away. I know there was some crazy stuff over in the CAL. I know, everything just went down to it. Aaron, we'll start with you. Where were some of the games you were at last week, and what did you see in those games?
Yeah, so I'll get into the first half of my week. Monday, I was at 12 Bridges, where the boys basketball team played Sutter. 12 Bridges was coming off a loss against Marysville at the time, basically ended their hopes of being co-league champions. They just dominated the Huskies in this one, 73-41. Jacob Gilchrist led the way with 24 points in the game, including 13 in the first quarter alone. I've seen the team, I want to say 3 times now this year, and each of those games, Gilchrist has just dominated to start out the game and has really helped the team kind of settle in. He wasn't the only one producing. Their big men, Kellen Collier and James Sweet, combined for 19 points and 18 rebounds. Rhinos did still have some bad turnovers from not getting out in transition fast enough, but they still finished second in the PVL. Rhinos have the 5 seed in the D4 playoffs. They're going to face Ripon on Wednesday. Huge for them for first year varsity program host again. This is the third, and I'll get into girls soccer in a bit, but this is the third Rhinos team already that has been hosting a home playoff game in their first varsity season. So that's huge for that school. Wednesday, I was at Lincoln for girls soccer versus West Park. Had the Zebras won this game, they would have made the postseason, but they fell 4-3 on senior night. The Panthers were led by senior and Stanford commit Erica Grillion, who scored 2 goals in the 19th and the 30th minute. Bella Madigan got West Park on the board with a 3rd-minute strike before Lincoln's Avery Aronson scored in the 12th minute. Panthers went up 4-1 in the second half with a 46th minute goal by Ella Fazio, but the Zebras fought back with 2 Alicia Ozagueda goals in the 51st and 68th minutes. Still wasn't enough. Valiant fight for the Zebras, but for the Panthers, that's a huge win. They are in the postseason. They are actually the 2 seed in the D4 playoffs, and we'll get into all of our predictions in a bit, but that's making out to be a very exciting bracket right now.
Definitely. And Matt, kind of throwing over to you. Where were you at this week, and what'd you see?
Yeah, I just early in the week I only had a game Monday, and it was Vista boys basketball at El Camino. Vista needed to win. The coach Mike Verbitsky felt they needed to win 2 of their last 3 games to make the playoffs, and they started with a win Monday against El Camino, who had beaten them before at Vista. So nice win for them, and they were down by 2 after 3 quarters, but they had a little burst at the start of the 4th and got a little 5 to 6 point lead. And then down the stretch, they made 12 out of 13 free throws, and that just sealed the win. Logan Rexford led the team with 20 points. He's their best player, top scorer all season. Wes Benar had 13 points, and Nathan Kramer scored 11. But as it would turn out, they really needed to win Wednesday against Del Campo. They didn't do it. Lost by 6, I believe. And as you might have seen, they didn't make the playoffs. So the week started off good for them, but did not finish well. All my other stuff is Thursday and Friday, so I can hold that though.
All right. I mean, losing by 6, that's a tough one too, because it's like that's where you start having those second guessing of, what if this shot had fallen, what if this possession goes different, and
Yeah,
that's a tough one if that's the one that eliminates you.
yeah.
So the start of my week, I was at Bear River and Colfax for some boys basketball. It kind of came in the final week of the regular season, and Bear River and Colfax were kind of in opposite ends of it. Bear River pretty much had its ticket to the dance punch. They were looking at trying to potentially clinch a home playoff game. And Colfax was outside looking in. They were in big need of a win, and a win against Bear River would have really kind of done it for them. And Colfax had a chance to strike. The Bruins played without starting point guard and captain Tyler Hoosvelt, who was in concussion protocol. It sounds like he's back now, but he was off for that one. And Colfax had its chances. They were coming in late. They, cut the deficit to single digits multiple times, but Bear River hung on to win 61-49. Zach Smith, the I guess co-captain with Hoosvelt, a junior, had 28 points in the game. And I asked him kind of about it and about where his mentality was without his kind of partner in crime out there. And he said, I knew I had to step up, but he said it was the first time that they'd played since they've been playing basketball together that he was out there without him on the court. And he stepped up in a big way. I mean, huge win for them. Cole Walton scored 11 points as well for Bear River. And Luke Jeffers was strong down low with 9 rebounds. A big win for them. And it turned out to be enough because Bear River actually ended up with the 8th seed in Division 5. So they're hosting Argonaut. They get a home game in the playoffs, which, I mean, especially on that 8-9 line, if Argonaut's the team you're playing, I mean, one of those two schools is making an hour and a half drive, and it's a lot nicer to be the one not making that drive than the one making it. So a big win for them. And then with where I was at for the second, or I guess on Tuesday, was another big game in terms of playoff seeding. Placer and West Park girls basketball. It was a third place spot in the Foothill Valley League on the line, and that really served as the automatic qualifier for playoffs. Placer won the first matchup 48-46, I want to say. It was a 2-point game. And in this one, the Lady Panthers were kind of dominating up in Auburn, but Placer ended up going on a 9-0 run to end the third quarter, and then they just kept the foot on the gas in the fourth, end up winning 47-39, picking up the big win. The biggest story of this one was it was the return of guard Riley Pruitt, who for Placer had been sidelined for pretty much all of league play with a medical issue, and she scored 12 points. Her kind of basically, it's a 1-2 punch with Pruitt and Amara Jackson. Jackson led Placer with 15. Addison Horn had 11. I asked Camelucci about having Riley back, and he just said, with her, like having her out there on the floor is almost like having another coach out there. And he said she hasn't been able to do anything for a while, but the fact that she was at every practice and was basically trying to do every little thing she could, even if they're like, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that. You got to be recovering. The fact that she was doing everything that she could out there for practice for a month, he's like, it was great seeing her out there and great getting to watch her contribute and play again in the league game for her senior year. And now with her back out there, I mean, the sky's kind of the limit. Placer's a team that they can make a little bit of a run. I'll get to the second half of the week a little later, but Aaron, we'll throw it back over to you. Where were you at for the second half of this week?
Yeah, on Thursday, I was at Lincoln for a girls basketball senior night against West Park. The Zebras won their third straight FVL title with a dominating 76-30 win. A monster night for Katie Leith, 40 points and 25 rebounds. It's actually Lincoln records for points in a game, and she surpassed 1,500 career points in that game as well. One thing I will say is there's definitely a huge size differential between her and some of the West Park girls. She had a good few inches on them, but she was still a monster just getting down in the paint. Maya Hodge had 16 for the Zebras all in the second half, along with 12 rebounds. The Panthers did a a decent job defending and getting into the paint in the first half, but they just got a little bit too tired. Jill No led for them with 10 points. The Panthers earned the 11th seed in Division 3. They'll be playing Lathrop on Tuesday. The Zebras are the 2 seed. And I put in here they actually had a bye because I thought they did, but no, they're actually playing the winner of a play-in game. And I actually have to take a look at the bracket again on that. But they're basically playing the winner of a play-in game on Tuesdays. But they should be winning that game, and then they would play the winner of West Campus and Sierra on Thursday.
All right.
Oh, and I one other thing too. I should get into Friday too. I talked so much about Thursday. I need to get into Friday. The Valley Christian girls. I went to Valley Christian, saw the girls and the boys basketball teams play Western Sierra. The Lions girls team clinched the SMAL with a 67-25 win over the Wolves. Lions were led by Christelle Williams with 15 points. Callista Larson had 14. The Wolves finished 4th in the SMAL, and they are young with only 3 seniors. Ria Lopez and Simran Colon, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, both had 6 points in the contest. And then in the boys game, Western Sierra finished undefeated in the SMAL, winning the league title for the 2nd season in a row with an 82-70 win over the Lions. Chase Delaloy for the Wolves had a monster night with 34 points and 12 rebounds. Mathis Klein added 14. The Lions were led by Chase Clary with 22, and then Jordan Hurley had 15. It was a back and forth game until about the 4-minute mark of the 4th quarter. The Lions led by 2 at the end of the 1st, and then the Wolves led by 2, I think, at halftime and the end of the 3rd quarter. But the last 4 minutes, the Wolves went on a 17-7 run to close out the game. Western Sierra earned the 6th seed in Division 5. They're going to be playing Rio Vista on Wednesday. And then the Lions earned the 3 seed in Division 6. They will be playing Forest Hill on Thursday.
All right. Impressive one. I know that that Forest Hill Valley Christian one's an interesting one. Western Sierra, too, being a 6th seed. I mean, I know they're in Division 5. That one surprised me a little bit. I thought maybe they kind of deserved a little bit of a higher seed, but
I was thinking they could have been like a 4 or a 5. I think the section looked a lot at their preseason they had. And, they did have to face some stronger teams like Lincoln's in there. But I mean, still, whenever you go undefeated in the league play, it seems like unless you're in a horrible league, which the SMAL this year is not a horrible league, I feel like you should be a little bit higher than that for sure.
Definitely. But hey, you know what? As everyone says, if you want to win a section title, you're going to have to beat everyone anyway. So it doesn't really matter where you're seated. All right, Matt, over to you. Where were you at for the second half of your week?
Yeah, Thursday up at Oak Ridge for basically a playoff game between the girls soccer, Folsom and Granite Bay. They both finished tied for 5th in the SFL and had to play a game to see which team would move on to the playoffs and which team would see their season come to an end. And, it's been a tough year for both these teams, but it's been a tough year for the Bulldogs, who's the team that I cover. They just had trouble scoring all year long. They really dominated this game offensively and scoring chances, and as fate would have it, they didn't score. The game went to PKs. Granite Bay won 3-1 in PKs, so Folsom only made one of their 4 penalty kicks. So that's kind of the way their season's gone. But more impressively, just to put the shoe on the other foot, Granite Bay keeper Katie Smith, who is normally a center back. This was her 4th game in goal because Granite Bay's normal goalie got hurt, I guess. So she was playing out of position. She held Folsom scoreless in the game, and then in PK time, she made 2 saves, which is, you make 1 save, you're lucky. I mean, you make 2. I mean, that's pretty impressive. So, in that sense, Folsom might have dominated the game during the regulation play, but Granite Bay dominated PKs, and that's what got them the win. So that was Thursday and Friday at the SFL finale. Basketball, Oak Ridge visited Folsom, girls and boys. The Bulldogs, both teams wrapped up 10-0, perfect SFL seasons with similar games, really. The girls winning 64-35, boys winning 70-51. Both games were close at halftime. Oak Ridge was down by 10. Oak Ridge girls were down by 10 at halftime, which, I mean, to Folsom, that's 10 points is a pretty close game, the way they've been blowing teams out. And Oak Ridge was down by 2 points at halftime, the boys. And both Folsom teams had big 3rd quarters to really separate separate them from the Trojans, and they went on to win by comfortably, both teams. Let's see, Jacob Olson, great game for the Trojans. He scored 32 of his team's 51 points, I believe. So he led the Trojans, and for the for Folsom, Micah Johnson had 15, and David Young had 14. And on the girls' side, where did I have that? Oh, jeez. Cameron Mafua scored 22 points, lead all scorers. Ella Uriarte scored 11 for the Bulldogs, and Trojans were led by Liv Jurgensen with 11 and Sophia Williams with 8.
All right, so an impressive one over there. Jacob Olson, was he was a running back there this year too, correct?
No,
It wasn't, was it? Oh, it was Jacob. It was Jake something, right?
Jake Hall.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I was thinking, hey, two-sport athlete, but never
No.
mind that.
Jake Hall's a wrestler, so he's
all right. Hey, Oak Ridge. I mean, any SFL wrestling program is pretty strong. But hey, I'll get into my wrestler stuff in a little bit. But I gotta say for the second half of my week, I was only at one game on Thursday night, but it was a big one. So I guess I'll set the scene a little bit. It was the final night of the regular season for Foothill Valley Soccer. And basically Lincoln was 8-0-1 going into final night. Nevada Union is 0-8-1. There were 4 teams tied for second at 4-4-1 with only 2 playoff spots open. So West Park loses, Ponderosa wins. So all eyes come down to Placer and Oakmont Thursday night, and they're playing against each other at Oakmont with the winner going on, loser going home. A tie sends Oakmont because they won the first match against Placer. The first match against Placer, actually, Oakmont won 4-1 up in Auburn. They got 2 PKs early. And Thursday's match looked to be heading the same way. Oakmont had 2 goals by Adrian. I'm going to butcher this. Alvarenga, I believe. Alvarenga. Okay. Adrian Alvarenga and Mason Manhart put the Vikings up 2-0 in the first 30 minutes. Placer played pretty much the entire first half with its back against the wall. But somehow Sergio Maya gets one in on kind of, I don't really know how they scored it, but they found a way to get this one in. And Oakmont had so many chances right before the half too. They had a couple where they hit the post, the crossbar, open nets that Placer just happened to clear, or Oakmont just missed. And it's 2-1 going into half. And I was saying at the moment, I think Placer is pretty happy with this being 2-1 at halftime, even though they're trailing, because this could easily be 3 or 4-1. And then, all of a sudden, Placer equalizes in the 44th minute. Kevin Martinez delivered a beautiful strike that just, I'm not even kidding, there was probably about the exact size of the ball. Like, that's how much of a window it was between the top of the keeper's glove and the bottom of the crossbar. And Martinez put it right there and got it in. And all of a sudden, it's a tie game. Then Oakmont jumps back in front 5 minutes later with a goal on a rebound by Josh Gamora. But then Carlos Robles ties it again with a header on a corner kick. But again, Placer needed the win, and it felt like, Oakmont was just like, okay, just don't let them score anymore. And, we'll go into playoffs with a 3-3 draw. But instead, Maya actually scores his second of the night on the 59th minute on a counterattack. Oakland's keeper raced out of the box to try to clear it, but Maya won the race to the ball and kicked it in. And, I asked him, and I'm like, what was going through your head? And he's like, I pretty much just saw the opportunity and took the shot. And then the final 20 minutes, Oakmont just bombarded Placer. I mean, hit the keeper, the post, the defense, everything just kept the ball out of the net, and the Hillman braved the storm and hung on for a 4-3 win.
Wow.
It's one of those matches it's one of the most heartbreaking ways to lose a match. You feel for whatever team's on the wrong side of it because neither team really deserved to lose it. But it was one of the best matches I've seen in a long time, and Placer nabs that playoff spot, and Oakmont doesn't get it. I think Placer ended up as I got to look at the brackets. I think they ended up as the 7th seed in Division 4, so they're going to be hosting Center Tuesday night, and then the winner is going to go down to Stockton to play Western Ranch on Thursday. So, I mean, a tough game, especially when looking at some of the teams that are in this Division 4 field. I mean, I know soccer is, the top X amount in each league make it, and there's no real at-large bids. But, looking at some of the teams in this field, I mean, Oakmont is better than a good chunk of the teams that are here. So, that's got to sting a little bit to be that close and be watching from home when you get into the postseason. And kind of speaking of that, on some of the big performances I saw, like I said, Sergio Maya, 2 goals to send his team to playoffs. That's a big one. I also mentioned Zach Smith, 28 points for Bear River in the big rivalry over Colfax. But my athlete of the week is actually going to go to Brianna Packheiser of Placer. She won her division at divisionals this year or this season and is going to be going on to the Masters. I talked to her coach, which is also her dad, and he told me that every single bracket that she has been in this year, she has not been seated high. She has not been ranked high. She, hasn't even been seated in some of them. And he goes, she's busted every bracket that she's been in this year. She won the Division 3 championship over a wrestler. I can't remember the name. Don't have it off the top of my head. A girl from Wilsey Wood that she actually lost to earlier in the season. And I guess she came in and she was winning 10-2, just was really controlling this match. And her dad kind of told her, going into the third round, he was like, hey, you're up 10-2. You don't need to score any points. You just need, just don't give up any points. And, that's solid, strong wrestling advice. Well, what Brianna did instead was decided to just go, I'm just going to win this right now, and ended up with a beautiful throw to take her down and get a pin to win the match. And her dad told her after the match, he said, I told her that is really, really stupid wrestling, but that was really awesome to watch. So for that, I gotta give the nod to Packheiser. Congratulations for being the athlete of the week. And I think that's her second time she gets it. So congrats to you for winning that. Aaron, over to you. What was the best performance you saw this week?
Yeah, so in South Placer, I've also got a wrestler who happened to win their weight class at regionals. Gemma Templeman of Rockland High. She placed first in the 235-pound, I believe that's the heavyweight weight class for girls. At North Regionals. So congratulations to her. I know she finished third in state last year, and I think she was second at Masters. So I know she's going to be looking to, obviously improve off of that and hopefully go after a state title that a couple of people from the area won last year. So we'll see how far she can make it. And then for the Lincoln area, Lincoln High basketball player Sammy DeCeste scored 25 points in a loss against Pono on Wednesday. It was a 72-65 loss, so they battled really hard against the league champions. And then he scored 15 points in a win over West Park on Friday that secured third place for the Zebras and is going to get them a home game. This we'll get into in a moment. DeCeste led the team in both of those games.
All right, impressive. Sorry, I had a puppy cracking the door open to see what I was doing, so I had to look behind. Matt, over to you. Who were some of the best performances you saw?
Well, Granite Bay's Katie Smith in goal with two PK saves. She's not in my coverage area. That's Aaron's deal. But we talked about Logan Rexford. He's been leading the Eagles all year, boys basketball team, and Jacob Olsen had another great week. But my athlete of the week is Kyra Mafua for Folsom High. She led them with 22 points against Oak Ridge, but she's averaging 17 points, seven rebounds a game on the best team in the area. 22-2 overall, 10-0 SFL. She's had 6 straight games of 20 points or more and 14 straight double-digit games in scoring, with the season high 34 points against Rockland on January 31st. She's got nearly a dozen scholarship offers, and she's only a junior, so she's coming back next year to the Bulldogs, and she's had a great season and deserves to be spotlighted.
All right. I like it. Impressive. And speaking of, like you said, best team in the area with Folsom's girls, I guess now's our good time to get into, hey, it's playoff season. The brackets are out. I guess first we'll start, if we're going to do our predictions, how do we want to do this? Do we want to give, who we think is winning the section in each division, or do we want to maybe say what our championship matchup is, who's winning it? How do you guys want to do this?
Yeah, we could do champion matchup, and if you have any other notes that you happen to have down for anything, I think that's probably good.
All right,
look,
I like that.
I only made predictions for my school, so
all right, hey, that works for me. We can do it that way, and maybe we'll throw in one, if you can think of one, maybe one hey, under the radar, an upset alert if you think of one. anything like that? Who wants to get Aaron? I guess you have the most schools in. I think we said
Yeah.
you have what, 25
Yeah. So I
schools
think I've
in
got
between basketball and
26.
soccer.
I think I've got 26 schools between basketball and soccer that are in it. So I'll say the same thing I said on my Facebook earlier this week. Everybody, please bear with me over this next week. This is going to be like the busiest week of the year. Please bear with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and get into I guess we'll do basketball and then we can get into soccer after that. So for Division One, Folsom's the 1 seed. Modesto Christian is the I believe they're either the 2 or the 3 seed. I think they're the 3 seed actually. Inderkum's the 2 seed. I think Modesto Christian should be seeded higher than that. I think they should at least be the 2. I'm going to go Folsom Modesto Christian in the championship with Folsom winning. I think Folsom Jesuits almost certainly going to be the semi-final matchup, but I just think Folsom's going to outclass them in that one. And then for D1 girls, what I want to see is Folsom Antelope, and I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with Folsom beating Antelope, but I think St. Mary's is definitely a scary team that Antelope's going to have to get by. I just think the Antelope, with the talent that they have, with their full court press, with the height that they have, I could see them beating St. Mary's. I don't think that anybody's going to beat Folsom. I think Folsom's going to win in D1 for both. And then I guess should I send it over to Matt since he's got D1, or should I keep going?
Yeah. I say let's do that. We'll start.
Okay,
We'll
cool.
go 1 all the way down through 6. If you guys
I
are
like
cool
it.
with that.
Sounds good. All right, cool. Pass it on over.
Well, D1 boys basketball, Folsom's a great team, number 1 seed, but they could win it. I hate to pick against them, but only because Modesto Christian is, from what I hear, like I've never seen them play, but I hear they're like God's gift to basketball. So I'm picking them to beat Folsom. That's nothing bad against Folsom. It's just comparing apples and oranges, really.
Now, is that a pun because they're Modesto Christian?
No, it's just look. Modesto Christian, good players from everywhere. I just heard that they're the class of D1. So I hope Folsom proves me wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. And on the girls' side, Folsom and St. Mary's, they played earlier this year in a great game. They played last year in a great game in the playoffs. It would be great to see them match up again. I know Antelope's good, and maybe they could beat St. Mary's, but is it Antelope? Is that who you say? Is that the team?
Yes, Antelope, I believe.
Yeah, I want to make sure I wasn't thinking boys. So they could certainly beat St. Mary's maybe, but St. Mary's Folsom game would be a good one, so that'd be good to see.
All right. Honestly, the only insight I'll have, I know I don't have a dog in the D1 fight, but I'm with you on the Folsom Modesto Christian thing. I do think Jesuit can beat Folsom if they are healthy, but given that it's at Folsom, I'd give Folsom the edge. But yeah, I think Folsom Modesto Christian is going to be the matchup. I too kind of give the edge to Modesto Christian. Just they have a basketball factory down there, and for those that aren't familiar with what Modesto Christian is, I mean, think of what De La Salle has been in football. That's kind of what Modesto Christian's been in basketball, and I think they're kind of the shoe-in for that. And then the girls, I have a tough time thinking it's not going to be Folsom and either St. Mary's or Antelope. I'm going to give St. Mary's that edge, but Folsom winning D1 girls, I think you can pretty much lock that one in. But hey, over to D2.
And one thing I wanted to add just real quick is, Folsom has a win over, a big win over Jesuit, but Stojakovic is not playing that game. So he's back now. So that first game really doesn't mean anything. So yeah, Jesuit, they could beat Folsom.
Definitely. I'm kind of with you on that. And Division 2, there was especially in boys, there was some interesting seedings in that one. Del Oro has the head-to-head over Rio Americano, but Rio Americano gets the 1 seed DO with the 3. That one kind of surprised me a little bit, but also if you look at the records, I guess I could see the argument either way for either one, but hey, it's not my decision. Aaron, let's throw over to you because you've got a few teams in this field. What are you expecting out of D2?
So I'll start with an upset. I think Atwater's played very well all season, but I'm going to say that in the semifinals, we're going to get Del Oro Whitney 4. We've had it 3 times so far this year, and I think that we're going to get it a 4th time in the playoffs. I'm gonna go with Del Oro. I think they've played really solid. I think that Caden Penix led them really well. I think they've got really solid stuff down low with Brandon Hill. I just think that they are a really well-rounded basketball team, and I think that this is their year. I'm gonna go Del Oro, and in a bit of an upset in this one, I'm not going to pick Rio. I've seen, Rio's a great three-point shooting team. They play solid defense, but I think that they've definitely got some cracks and some holes in their arsenal. I'm going to go with actually Wood Creek as the 5, and I know that's going to sound biased because I cover both teams, but I'm going to go Wood Creek Del Oro in the finals, and I'm going to go with Del Oro winning for the boys. That's going to be my pick for D2, which I know is a bit of an upset there.
Honestly, Aaron, I'm kind of with you. Having seen Rio play this year too, they're a 3-point shooting team, and when those 3-point shots aren't falling, they start. I mean, they start to look a little flustered. And I just look at some of the teams in this division. I know Manteca is no slouch. I mean, Wood Creek is no slouch. St. Mary's no slouch. Granite Bay is a defending D2 champion. I mean, so and that's just on their side of the bracket. Not even mentioning what's on the other side that could be waiting for them in the final. And I just think that's kind of a gauntlet to go through. And you're asking that 3-point shooting to be lights out for 3 games before you even get to the final. And I don't know if you can guarantee you're going to get that.
Well, and I think a thing that's also important too when you just look at playoffs is I think teams that play more preseason tournaments and have to actually go through brackets are probably or more well versed at what it's like to deal with the pressure of going through something like this. Even though playoffs is obviously more pressure than anything, and obviously Del Oro, they played in one of the biggest tournaments out there. They played in the Kendall and they won the Kendall. So I mean, I kind of go off that. I go off of just what I've seen from them, and I think that they're just a really well-rounded team. For D2 girls, this is going to be a little more boring because it's the top 2 seeds. But I mean, I don't see any other way. It's not Christian Brothers and Vista Del Lago. I do think Wood Creek's got a really good girls team. I think they're a year away from winning a section title personally. If they've got a couple players where if they're not going, it's going to be a really tough time. Plus, they're a bit of a smaller team too, and I just don't think that they're going to quite do it. Whitney, they're a 3 seed. I actually would argue you could put Wood Creek above Whitney. I think Whitney went above them just because they're in the SFL. And they did finish 3rd, and obviously Oak Ridge and Folsom were the 2 teams ahead of them. But they've struggled. They've struggled on multiple different facets of the game, and I just don't think that they're going to get by Vista. I'm going to go Christian Brothers Vista in the finals, and I am going to go with Christian Brothers winning that matchup.
All right, Matt, I know, hey, Vista is your girls team. You saw one of the Christian Brothers Vista matchups, or did you see both of them?
No, I saw both. Yeah.
You were about, so I mean, hey, are you expecting round 3 in the final there?
Yeah, but no, I haven't seen the Pacers play. I haven't seen Grant play, but and I know Vista's beaten Whitney, but that semifinal game, it's a game that Vista can lose if they don't play well. So I'm picking Vista to win that, but I wouldn't be shocked if they slip up and lose that game. But that said, I'm still picking Vista to beat Christian Brothers in the finals because I know Christian Brothers crushed them last time they played them. I mean, they got out to 30-point lead and they ended up winning by whatever 18 or something. But sometimes I've seen a lot of there's 2 teams play each other over the past couple of years, and sometimes I just until the last time they played, I mean, Vista had won 6 straight games, and even though Christian Brothers might have had a better team, Vista was finding a way to win those games. So I think, championship game, pressure's on the line in an NBA arena. I'm just sliding my chips over to Vista.
All right.
One thing I'll say real quick is because I was coming on up to my mind. I was like, wait, I think Whitney and Vista played each other earlier this year. They did twice, actually. They're 1-1 against each other. Vista beat Whitney by 6, Whitney beat. Yeah, Vista beat Whitney by 6, and then Whitney beat Vista by 15. That was back-to-back games 2 days after each other. So it'll be interesting to see who wins the rubber match if they do face off in the semis.
Right. And by the way, just so you know, Aaron, and for you, Jordan, it's okay to be biased.
And hey, you know what? My bias is going to show right here as a DO guy. I got to say, if I'm giving my thoughts on D2, Aaron, I'm kind of with you. I think DO is going to come out of the bottom of that bracket. It's really a toss-up. To me, it's going to be the winner of the Wood Creek St. Mary's game, or the hypothetical Wood Creek St. Mary's game, I guess. And, I'm going to take DO against whoever that is. So maybe my bias is showing as a DO grad, but the team I've seen from them this year, I've seen them play a few times, and I just think they're a stronger team than what Rio Americano looks like on that top seed line. So, hey, you know what? Time is going to tell. Over to Division Three, another one of these deeper fields we have. Starting with the boys, we'll take a look at. Aaron, do you want to kick this one off? I know this one. I think we all have kind of teams that are fighting in this area. So
Yeah, I'm going to start off with
That was
saying
basketball.
that's
My
true.
basketball picks are done. I don't have any teams left there. So.
All
sounds
right,
good.
Aaron and I will power through basketball, and then
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
back
power
up to
through this.
soccer.
So first thing I'm going to say is, and this is going to light a fire under some Lincoln fans out there. They got the 5 seed, they got a home game. I think that's a bit high. And honestly, they play El Camino in the first round. I don't think that's a good matchup for them. I think that it'll be a close game. I'll go with them winning, but I would not be surprised if they fall in the first round of that one.
Hey, I do want to add this, Aaron. I told you about El Camino.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if they won a couple games. So that's my upset pick. That's my dark horse.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that if Lincoln does win, they have to travel to Central Catholic, and they wouldn't win that game if they do go there. I mean, El Camino could. I think Central Catholic's going to make it to the semis. But anyways, in terms of my finals, I'm going to go Vanden versus Sac High, with Sac High winning. I've read a little bit about Sac High. I haven't seen them play this year. They look pretty solid. I've talked to a couple people who've seen them play. So I'm going to go with Sac High on that one. D3 girls, give me the rematch. The top 2 seeds. I'm going to go Vanden Lincoln once again. I still don't think that Lincoln is better than Vanden. I think we're going to get literally deja vu of last year, where Vanden's going to beat them in the section championship. But I think that'll be a very exciting game. I think it would be a better game this time around. Lincoln would be more prepared for them. They got more experience. So I'm going to go with Vanden making it for both girls and boys, but I'm going to go with Sac High for the boys and then Vanden for the girls.
All right. I'm very close on. I'm very torn on a hypothetical. Should we get Central Catholic and Vanden? I think that game is going to go right down to the wire in the boys. Should we get that? I'm going to give the nod to Vanden being the higher seed, but I think that could be a coin toss. And then I actually think Placer is going to knock off Sac High in the semifinal, because my logic on this one, Placer is, that team is kind of starting to hit their stride again a little bit. They had an amazing start to the season. They kind of stumbled a little bit starting in league, but they've really figured a lot of things out. And then the other thing is, this is Mark Lee's last season as a head coach, and he's never won a section championship. And this is a group that is talented enough to win him one. And I think they're kind of one of those, we're not going to stop at anything until we get there. So I think Placer is going to make that run to a section title. I do think it's going to fall short. I think Vanden's got the edge in that, but hey, it's going to get Placer a NorCal bid and a section runner-up, a good farewell to Lee on that one. And then the girls' side, I'm with you. It's going to be Vanden Lincoln. I do think West Campus can be kind of frisky on that 7 seed line, but I think Lincoln's just a better team. The only other ones that really stand out to me, Kimball and Sacramento on that 4-13 game. I wouldn't be shocked to see an upset there. But outside of that, I think this is a pretty chalky bracket. Pioneer Placer, you can flip a coin at the 8-9 matchup. But yeah, I think we're looking at Vanden Lincoln. I'm kind of with you. I think Vanden's got the upper hand.
I agree. I would actually say that you got to watch out for East Union as the 3. I mean, the East Union could definitely beat Lincoln. I know Lincoln beat them, I think, in the semis last year. That's a scrappy team too. I think that they were co-league champions with Kimball, I want to say, and I think that they went 1-1 against each other, if I'm not mistaken. So, both of those teams I think could be scrappy in that sense for sure.
Definitely. And in Division 4, Aaron, you're the only one with a team in Division 4. So I'll and for the boys bracket, at least, I'll let you kind of take over the D4 before we get to D4 girls.
Yeah, so Union of Mine's the 1 seed. They've been a very solid team all year, and this is no disrespect to them. I think Marysville barely lost to them, I want to say, in the preseason. I'll start with this. 12 Bridges, I think, will get a win, but them versus Calaveras is a bad matchup for them. I don't think that's a good matchup. I'm going to go Calaveras, and I actually think Calaveras can upset Union Mine. I'm going to go Calaveras and Marysville in the championship, and I'm going to go with Marysville getting the dub and winning a section title. So I'm going to go with that for the boys' side. And then on the girls' side, I'll leave it at this and say Colfax by 1 billion, and we'll go from there.
I mean, I'm with you on the girl side. I will say Calaveras Marysville Championship. That's interesting. Are we going to get like a controversial call or something like we got in the baseball title last year between those two?
Oh, that's right. I forgot that's a baseball rematch. That's right.
But yeah, on the girls' side, I mean, I look at Colfax. I don't, I don't foresee them really seeing any real competition till that third matchup with Marysville in the semifinal. I guess potential matchup with Marysville. I still think Colfax is a better team in that one. And then, I think it's Calaveras and Riverbank. I think Calaveras is a better team in that sense. I I think we're walking towards Colfax Calaveras round two. Colfax did win the first matchup by 30 up in Colfax. I think it's going to be a little closer if they meet up in the final again, but I just have a hard time seeing this be anyone other than Colfax Calaveras in the final. And yeah, it's in my opinion, these are the two best teams in D4. And I just don't see a world that it's going to be any different in the final. And kind of looking at Division 5 boys, I guess Aaron, we do both have some people there. I do think Bear River in the boys bracket is a team that can I have them winning that first round game against Argonaut. I don't see them beating Fortune Early College, but I also think they're well coached and they're good enough that they can keep that a close game. And hey, anything can happen. But I think I mean Fortune is probably going to be playing in the section title. I do think Western Sierra got a little bit underseeded, so I'll take them beating Vacaville Christian. I think that's going to set up a great game with Ripon Christian, and I think Ripon Christian has the edge in that, and I'll say Fortune beats Ripon Christian in the final.
I don't think I have anything to add. You basically took all the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was going to say. I have Western Sierra making the semis as well, for the exact same reasons. I think they're underrated. I do like Leroy Green and Sacramento Adventist in the 7-10 matchup. I think Sac Adventist actually could pose a little bit of a threat to Ripon. I've seen them play. I think that Beeman's a really good player over there. I think that could be a good matchup. But I agree. I'm probably going to go with Fortune and Ripon as well, with Fortune winning.
And on the girls' side, kind of another quick outlook. I know Bear River got the 3 seed; they get that first round bye. I think it's going to be Bret Hart, and take your pick of Bear River or Valley Christian. For the sake of being the Auburn Journal, I'm going to take Bear River, and I'm going to guess you're going to take Valley Christian in that matchup.
For the sake of being the Roseville Press Tribune, I'm going to take the Valley Christian, and I'm going to take Valley Christian.
That's going to be the honor of being the runner-up to Bret Hart in the section title.
I disagree. I'm going to go. I think Valley Christian could beat Bret Hart. I think
right,
I think
Valley Christian could
beat Bret Hart, actually. And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased.
I could see Valley Christian beating Bret Hart, but I don't know if I can see Bear River beating Bret Hart.
I'd probably agree with that.
But what's weird is I could see Bear River beating Valley Christian. So hey, it's going to get crazy.
I think that'd be a great matchup for sure.
Division 6, Aaron, we're going up against one another in the first round of Division 6 with the Auburn Journal and the Roseville Press Tribune. I'll let you kind of start. Valley Christian, Forest Hill. Who do you got?
Well, the Press Tribune's going to take the Auburn Journal once again in this one. It's going to be Valley Christian, this one here. I actually think Valley Christian, as the 3 seed, I think they could still upset Turlock Christian too. They I watched them last Friday, obviously against Western, and they still turn the ball over too much with the Grinnell system they run. I think if they can get out and transition a little bit faster, and I do think that they are a better team than last year. I think they've got some more talent. They've got some better shooting. I think they could beat a Turlock Christian. I do actually have Stone Ridge and Valley Christian in the championship, but I think Stone Ridge is going to take it.
I actually agree with you on what the championship is going to be. I think it's going to be Stone Ridge, Valley Christian. I could see Valley Christian winning that, but I'm going to give the edge to Stone Ridge. That being said, that Valley Christian Forest Hill matchup is interesting to me because Forest Hill can shoot the ball very well. And Valley Christian playing the Grinnell system, I think can actually give Forest Hill a little bit of an edge and make that game maybe a little closer than it would have been if Valley Christian played a slower style of play. That being said, because Valley Christian is used to it, I think it's going to be one of those games where Forest Hill maybe hangs around, even has a lead through 3 quarters, but I think the stamina of Valley Christian is going to push them over the edge of that. And I'm with you, Valley Christian Stone Ridge over Valley Christian in the championship game. And I guess I'm the only one in Division 6. So I'll take this one home. Faith Christian is going to come out of the top half of the bracket in Division 6. That is just a fact of the matter with the girls. And then I've got 2 teams on the bottom half. The number 2 seed Forest Hill won their second league title in program history. this last week, and the team they beat, or the team that they finished above, is Forest Lake Christian, who's the 3rd seed. It's looking like Forest Lake Christian, round 3 in the semifinal. They split this one 1-1. As great of a season as Forest Hill has had, I'm gonna give the nod in this to Forest Lake Christian just because Forest Hill is a great team, very strong, a great season for them, but Forest Lake Christian has been here before. It feels like they're in this position almost every year. I'm going to give them the nod. And I am actually going to take Forest Lake Christian over Faith Christian in the section title game. So I know Faith Christian can score quick. Forest Lake plays great defense. I've seen them shut down top scorers before. I think they can do it again. And I'm going to give the Falcons of Forest Lake Christian a section title. That's going to do our basketball picks. We also have a fair amount of soccer going on. I guess again, Matt, you've been quiet for too long, Matt. We're going to kick you back into this. Division I soccer. What are you seeing? Are Folsom girls?
First off, soccer is soccer, and I don't know anything. Davis is a powerhouse, but I'm going out on a limb here. I'm not picking Davis. I got Oak Ridge boys over Intercom. Intercom's the 3rd seed. I just didn't want to pick the favorites, so I'm going Oak Ridge boys over Intercom. I got some homer picks here, by the way, but hey, they could happen.
I love it.
And the girls' side, I'm picking Davis just because, I got to pick them once. But Davis over Franklin, that's the 3rd seed. That's my D1 picks.
I like it. I like it a lot. Aaron, over to you. You've got some teams in this field. I know. You've got, especially on the boys side, you have one of the favorites in there, but kind of tell me what you're thinking.
Yep. And I've got Davis for both, and I've got them both beating some Rockland teams. Boys side, it's Davis Whitney. They're the top 2 teams. I think Whitney Intercom is a great matchup in the semis. I think Whitney will beat them. I'm going to go with Davis beating Whitney in penalty kicks. These 2 teams actually played each other back on December 2nd and drew 3-3, so this should be a really good matchup. But I'm going to go with Davis getting the edge in this one. And then on the girls' side, top 2 teams again, Davis and Rockland. I think Rockland can make a run, but I'm going to go with Davis winning. I'm going to go with Davis for boys and girls in Division I.
All right, I'm kind of with you guys on both of. I'm with you on both of Davis Whitney, Davis Rockland. Over into Division II. This is where the hot takes are going to start coming in from me. But Matt, or I'll start with you on the boys' side. Do you have, or I guess, are you?
I'm D3. Yeah.
All right, D3. My bad. So, Aaron, over to you. What do you expect me out of D2 boys?
I'm looking and I'm like, Jesuit can upset Granite Bay, but I'm going to go with a rematch of last year. I'm going to say Rio and Granite Bay, with Rio winning, we have a lot of deja vus happening right now with last year, but I'm going to go with that for the boys side. For Division II girls, this is a really solid field. This is probably one of the best brackets out there for any of the soccer brackets. There's a few ways this one can go, but I'm going to go with give me a rematch of the 2 teams that played earlier this season. I'm going to go with Whitney as the 4 seed, upsetting St. Francis in the semis, and I'm going to go with Wood Creek. So I'm going to go Whitney, Wood Creek, and I'm going to say Wood Creek takes it, which would be a great way to cap off the high school career for all those seniors at Wood Creek who've played 4 years, that have won 4 league titles, but have yet to get that elusive section title. Be a great story. I'm going to go with Wood Creek over Whitney in Division II.
All right, I like it. My only hot take in Division II, they say blood runs thicker than water, so I have to go with my blood. I got 14th seeded Rockland, and my little brother Luke Georgeson pulling that upset in the first round over Jesuit. Matt, you said it's okay to be a homer. I'm going to be a little bit of a homer there, but I'm with you. I've got Rio Americano, and I've got Rio and Granite Bay playing in the title. I don't think Rockland is going to pull off too much of a Cinderella run there, but I think we're gonna get that. I'm gonna say Granite Bay is gonna get it, and then in the girls, I actually kind of like your Wood Creek Whitney pick, but I'll say Whitney's gonna get the win just to for the sake of something different. Division III now, we're getting into the thick of it, and Matt, you've got one of the favorites in D3, and I know one of your favorites in D3 could be meeting one of Aaron's teams over there. So
I know we're gonna be going to war for this one.
Hey, when I talked to Vista coach Grant Tyler before the brackets came out, he thought they would be, I believe, I know he didn't think they'd be a 3 seed. He thought they'd be down 5, maybe 6. So when this bracket came out, he was very pleased to be a 3 seed. So I know they're seeded third, but I mean, the coach felt they'd be further back. So this is really a stretch to put Vista in the final. But one of my favorite sports quotes of all time when the Houston Rockets won the back-to-back titles, never underestimate the heart of a champion. Vista won the section title last year. They can make a run. They're good enough. I mean, it's soccer. Anybody can beat anybody. They can make a run. And then, Lincoln, I hear Aaron talk about Lincoln all year long. Lincoln. So I'm going Vista over Lincoln for the boys. And for the girls, I'm picking Christian Brothers over Vista. And the reason I'm not picking Vista is because these two teams met last year in the finals. Vista graduated like a really strong senior class. Christian Brothers didn't graduate nearly as many people. And I just think that, they're probably the stronger team. So I'm picking the Falcons to beat the Eagles in that final.
All right. Aaron, what about you?
I've got Lincoln Vista as well. I think Vista will beat out Golden Valley for the boys' side. And I'll say this, Lincoln got upset first round of playoffs last year. That game I witnessed against Placer, they definitely got frustrated with a few different things. The referee, I think that they've still, the mental side of the game is something that they're still probably not the strongest at. I've seen them get frustrated in certain circumstances, but in terms of just overall talent, I think they're the most talented team out of anybody in Division III, and I think they 100% deserve that 1 seed. One thing I'm looking forward to is Lincoln Christian Brothers if they match up in the semis, because that was the first round matchup last year where Christian Brothers upset Lincoln, and we could get a rematch at Lincoln once again in that one. But I'm going to go Lincoln Vista. I'll go Lincoln over Vista. Give me 3-2. We'll already go with a score prediction in that one. And then on the girls' side, I have also got Christian Brothers Vista, but I'm going to go with Vista winning a second straight title.
All right. Well, again, I don't really have too much to add into Division III, so we'll move along to D4, where I've got some more say in it. But Aaron, we'll start with you. Matt, I think your soccer is
I'm done.
soccer
Enjoy, boys.
Well, actually, Division IV boys, I think I'm the only one with someone in there.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So I'll say this. I think the FEL is one of the strongest leagues in the area for boys soccer, and I think Placer being a 7 seed in that 10 seed matchup against Center, I think Placer is a team that can make some noise in this. Problem is they're running into Weston Ranch, who I know is a strong team, and that's going to be tough after travel. So I do think Placer is a team that could make some noise in this bracket, but did not get a very favorable matchup. I'm gonna say Weston Ranch is gonna go this title, and I'm gonna say Weston Ranch and Rio Linda are gonna be the top 2 in that title game, and I'm gonna give Weston Ranch the nod in the boys, but the girls is going to be a different story. Placer girls are the 1 seed in Division IV. And Aaron, I know you got a few teams in there. I don't foresee Placer really running into too much of an issue until they run into their Liberty Ranch girls in the in a potential semifinal matchup there. I'm going to give Placer the nod, though. Their keeper, Ashlyn Doremus, is impressive. She's made several acrobatic saves, and saves like that. When you have a keeper that's making a lot of these big saves and keeping you in the game, it can really energize the team, and I think they can ride behind some momentum with that. I'm going to say that Placer is going to run into West Park in the championship. I'm going to give Placer the nod. I think a potential West Park Ripon semifinal is going to be a great matchup. But I got to give Placer the nod in this one. And another team to not watch out for in this is a team that you cover, Aaron, very well. But, a potential matchup of West Park and Ripon is a great semifinal, but I can see a world that 12 Bridges makes a run into the semifinal or even into the section final. Kind of talk to me about what you're expecting from your teams down there.
Yeah. So, before I get into my pick, I want to talk a little bit about Dixon. I think you can quote me if I'm wrong, but I think they made a pretty far run last year. They maybe even won the section title. But this year, I'll talk about this year. They have 4 losses. 2 of their losses are against Pioneer, who's a very solid girls team. Another one is against Endercombe, who's another solid girls team who finished, I believe, 2nd in the CVC. They lost them in a tournament earlier this year. I actually don't know if they had all their girls at the time, but they're 15-4-1. They're a 5 seed, and I understand that they're not in the strongest league out there, but I think they're a sleeper. I've actually got Dixon going all of the way. I'm going to go Dixon as the 5 seed, upsetting Liberty Ranch in the second round, then upsetting Placer in the semis. I'm going to say that they beat the winner of 12 Bridges and West Park. I think 12 Bridges will upset Ripon. That is such a hard one to pick between 12 Bridges and West Park because, West Park beat them 2-0 in the preseason, but, anything can happen in playoff time. I think that's a game that goes to penalty kicks. I'm going to go with West Park. I'm going to say Dixon, West Park. I'm going to go with Dixon getting the edge, but that 12 Bridges West Park game, if that happens, man, that could go either way.
I could see that. And I actually, the more I think of it, the more I really think Ripon's a strong team, but 12 Bridges is a team that can absolutely beat them. I feel like the Dixon pick is a personal attack on me, so we'll address that after the show. But we'll over into Division 5. The boys, we don't really have much in our area. The closest team to us even is Encina Prep. So I'm going to say top 2 seeds Delhi Riverbank for the title in it, and we'll go Riverbank. Give me the 2 over the 1. Aaron,
I'll make D5 girls quick. Colfax by I said Colfax by $1 billion for the girls basketball. Let's go Colfax by $2 quadrillion for the girls soccer.
Yeah, so here's the interesting thing. Colfax, the number 2 seed in Division 5 girls is Sutter. Colfax beat Sutter. I believe the final scores were 8-0 and 3-0 this season. And I just don't see a world that Colfax even has a close game in this bracket, to be completely honest. I'm checking out their opener against Amador tonight. But I just don't really see a world that this is anything, any sort of a challenge for Colfax, really.
Now, question for you, Jordan. Do they play at the same time as the girls basketball team? What about that player that plays 2 sports? Is she going to be there for her game?
So this happened last year. So Kaya Diedrichs, the ruling was, and there were different seedings, but this year is going to be interesting because they're both 1 seeds, is the ruling was she was going to play for whatever team was the higher seed. Now with this, I don't believe they're at the same time.
Okay.
Girls basketball is going to be on Tuesday.
The girls soccer plays on Monday and Wednesday, I believe, and girls basketball plays Tuesday, Thursday. So at least for the first 2 rounds, they should be okay. I don't know if they get past that, but yeah.
And I think if they get past that, if they're both the 1 seeds, I think what it's going to come down to is matchups of who needs one over the other. And let's be honest, the basketball could use her a little more than the soccer team could. I mean, she's a great player with soccer. It did come into a problem last year during NorCal's. Colfax didn't have her for the first round of NorCal's.
Okay.
But I just don't see
she's safe. I just looked it up. So the section championships for D5 for girls soccer would take place on the 18th. And then the 16th would be quarterfinals for girls basketball, and then the 21st would be semis. So I think she'll be safe.
So even if she's not on the soccer, even if she's not in the section championship soccer game, you feel that the Colfax can still win it without her, Jordan?
Yes, I do, because they've got several other strong players on that team.
Okay.
Jalen Ackerman's a big name for them. Their defense is solid. I just don't see much in the world that it's a huge problem. They've had a few games without her because she's dealt with some hamstring tightness and whatnot. So I just don't see a world that Colfax is really that challenged until we hit NorCal's.
Okay.
On the boys' side, I think I've got the only teams left now, so I guess I'll just bring home our playoff predictions. Boys side in D6, Colfax drew Rio Vista. They're the 5 seed going down to Rio Vista tomorrow night. I've actually got Colfax winning that game. And then, I don't know a ton, I'll admit, about Denair Soccer, who's the 1 seed. They're 13-10-4 though, but they went 10-2-2 in league. I'll say, let's give Colfax the edge in that one. I think they're a very good team that, is playing with a lot of heart right now, especially they're playing for a teammate that had passed away earlier in the year. So, I think they're really playing with a lot of heart and a lot of pride at the moment. And I'm going to say they're going to go up against Esparto in the championship. And I'm going to give the nod to Esparto in that one, but a big run for Colfax. And in the girls' side, we don't have anyone playing D6. So I'll just, again, say top 2 seeds, and that'll be Stone Ridge Christian against Golden Sierra, with Stone Ridge taking the win. So
That's good.
All right. Well, hey, that's going to do it for our predictions. Before we get going, though, does anyone have anything we want to add?
I'll just say real quick where I'm going to be, at least for the first part of the week. I mean, I don't know where I'm going to be at Thursday. I'm going to be covering something every day this week. It's going to be, like I said, a very busy week. But for at least for the first half of the week, I know where I'm at. Monday tonight, I'll be at 12 Bridges for girls soccer, first playoff game against Eldorado. Again, I expect them to win that one. Tomorrow, Tuesday, I'll be at Wood Creek for girls basketball's first round matchup against Western Ranch. You know, Western Ranch is a bigger team. I think that they can make it at least maybe a little bit of a game, but I'm still going to go with Wood Creek winning that one in the first round. Wednesday, I've got a couple options, but I'm most likely going to be announcing and covering Lincoln boys basketball against El Camino. Again, I think that's a very close game. I will go with Lincoln, but I think that that's going to be like about a 5-6 point game. And they have to travel down to Central Catholic, which is going to be a tough matchup. The other one, if for any reason anything changes, I would cover West Park Christian Brothers boys basketball at West Park. It's a good matchup on the boys' side. I'm going to go with West Park getting the edge.
All right, I like it, Matt. Do you have the idea of where you're going to be yet this week?
I do, but just let me ask you: do we have time?
Yeah.
Okay, I knew we're gonna be getting close, but yeah, this is a busy week. Tonight, Oak Ridge girls soccer home versus Monterey Trail. Tomorrow, first half of the Oak Ridge boys soccer game at home against Bella Vista. I'm going to walk down to the gym and watch the Oak Ridge girls basketball team play Kennedy. Wednesday, if they win Monday, I'm going to go to Vista girls soccer versus Patterson Pioneer. If not, then I'll go to Oak Ridge's girls soccer game if they win Monday. And if they didn't win Monday, then I'll go to Folsom boys basketball game.
All right.
Thursday, if they won Tuesday, I'm going to the Vista boys soccer game first half, and then going down to watch the Vista girls playing the quarters against Consumer Soaks or El Capitan. And Friday, I'm going to the Folsom boys basketball game against Grant or Weston Ranch.
All right, a big week. I know tonight, like I said, I'll be at Colfax Amador girls soccer. Tomorrow is an undecided. Wednesday night, I'm very torn. I'm either going to be at Bear River Argonaut boys hoops, or I'm going to be at Placer Natomas boys hoops for the opening round of the playoffs there. And then the week is kind of, it's to be determined. You know, we could be at some. I guess I have to see how the week goes. But yeah, I know we got some big matchups coming in. So I guess stay tuned and check our website to see where we're going to be for the rest of the week. But yeah, that's kind of going to just about do it for this week's episode of the Gold Country Media Sports Jam. And I've been Jordan.
I've been Aaron.
And I'm Matt.
We will see you next week.